Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to a brand new video. It is Monday the 8th of January and I have a very busy week this week. Literally something on every day this week. Avery has nursery today and tomorrow. I think she's actually starting full days on Tuesday, which is exciting, but not too sure how it's going to work just yet until I actually start leaving her there. She will be having, the one-to-one will be having like a refresher on G-tube training this month, and then after that really I'm kind of good to go, which is nerve-wracking. But yeah, that's today and tomorrow. Wednesday Ela has a dentist appointment at the hospital. Thursday and Friday Avery actually has her 24-hour EEG. I always said after Avery's EEG would be the first time I'd give her hair a trim. I've been waiting for this EEG because I knew it was coming before I did it, just because I know that glue gets stuck to her hair and it'll take me a while to get that out of her hair, because if I do it so I don't hurt her, it takes me quite a long time. It's a lot of kind of soaking in oil, brushing little bits out, and it takes a few weeks. But I thought her hair might be just a little bit scraggly after that, so it'd be a good time to give her first ever trim. Yeah, that is this week, so it is a busy week and I do have a bit of a busy morning just trying to get as much as I can done before I take Avery to nursery this afternoon. I am actually making pasties for dinner tonight, so I'm preparing those now. I'd like to sit down and actually go through my kind of goals and achievements from last year, and then kind of set myself some goals from this year just to give me something to aim for, to feel motivated for. I still need to get Avery dressed. I need to pack the boys' lunches for tomorrow. I've got some cleaning and some dishes to do. Avery's doing really well. She's been a little bit peaky over the weekend. We were a little bit concerned that she might have been getting ill again. She's okay today. Fingers crossed she doesn't get ill, but we are going to be getting some rescue antibiotics. I did speak to Avery's paediatrician last week. We are going to be getting some rescue antibiotics, so if we feel that she is starting to get ill again, we can hopefully get on top of it before it turns into aspiration pneumonia. So I know that antibiotics don't work for viral infections, but I'm hoping it would work as a prophylactic to stop her from getting a bacterial infection. But she is on a prophylactic already. It just doesn't seem to be working. So yeah, I'm gonna crack on and make these pasties. Pasties are traditional from where I live at the moment, and I do enjoy them. They're a bit of a faff to make. To be fair, actually, they're not the hardest thing to make. They're fairly easy to make. Way back when, I think it was actually like a miner's lunch, because it has a crust, so they would hold the crust to stop them kind of touching their actual food with dirty hands. So they would use the crust as a handle, and then they would eat it, and a lot of the time half of it would be savoury and half of it would be sweet. So it'd have like rhubarb and something on one side, and then kind of your meat and veg on the other side, and they wouldn't eat the crust. They'd use that as like a handle, which is really odd because the crust is actually my favourite bit, but I like pastry. So yeah, I'm gonna crack on and make these. So I am cheating a little bit here. I'm using ready roll pastry, ready-made pastry. I'm probably going to roll it out a little bit thinner just so I can get a little bit more of it. So we ended up having a really lovely weekend. On Saturday we actually went to Little Harbour for the afternoon, which was really nice. We were offered a last minute sort of day visit, which was lovely. We were able to stay and have dinner there, and do you know, the minute we took Avery in, we took her straight to the sensory room, and she was just so happy and smiley, and it was really, really lovely to see. So that was Saturday. On Sunday, ended up being a bit of an unexpected day. Our plan was to go and kind of wave my mum off because she's leaving today. She was supposed to be leaving yesterday. So that was the plan, but my mum ended up having a little bit of an emergency because the hired truck that they were using to transport all of their stuff from where we are to where they're moving, which is around 300-ish miles, it broke down and the company didn't have a replacement for them. So my mum had to frantically find another van company. Long story short, they didn't end up going yesterday because of that. They are leaving today. I think as we speak, my dad would actually be at their house here packing up the last lot of stuff. So they're leaving today. So me and Josh and the kids ended up going to my mum's yesterday and spending pretty much the whole day with her. We helped her out a bit around the house, getting some bits done. Josh helped her dismantle some stuff in the garage. I hoovered the entire upstairs, which was really difficult because my mum's hoover is not very good. If I'd have known that, I would have taken mine, so it would have been so much quicker, but I ended up using the actual nozzle and kind of going around the floor with that, so it took me ages, but we helped out trying to get it cleaned up a bit and ready for today. And then we ended up going for like a late lunch, early dinner at the pub. We had a carvery, which was really nice. And we had to come home then because we didn't pack Avery's omeprazole, so we had to get back for that. So we said our goodbyes, which was really, really sad. My mum cried, I cried. But I know it's for the best. I know that it's the right thing for my mum to do. It's the right time. It was always going to happen eventually anyway. And Josh and I and the kids are not planning to stay where we are, which you know. So it was a sad but nice day. I feel a little bit kind of on edge today, I suppose, knowing that she's leaving. Quite a while ago, if you've been following me for a long time, you might remember me mentioning this. I mentioned that I had these funny turns where my heart would race. I would start to feel very, very, very nauseous. My stomach would hurt and then my skin would get very itchy. Like it felt like all of the blood was rushing to the surface of my skin and it felt really prickly and horrible, and it would last about sort of 20 minutes or so, then it would pass. I'd feel exhausted, but I'd be fine. That's been getting a little bit more frequent recently. Over New Year, I actually had 2 of those funny turns 2 days apart, and normally I'll have one and then it will be months and months before I feel another one. And this was the first time it happened in I feel like a year. So for it to happen twice in a row, like so close together, was really odd. And I had another one last night. So I don't know, like Josh is pretty convinced because he doesn't normally see me have them. Normally when it happens, I actually take myself off into the bathroom and let it pass in there. One of the ones I had this time around was actually in the car on the way up to Wales, and Josh had to pull over and he kind of helped me sort of breathe through it because, you know, there was no bathroom for me to go and sit in this time. And he said just by watching the way I was, watching my demeanour and listening to the way I was describing the way I was feeling, it sounded like it was probably an anxiety attack. Now obviously he's not a doctor, I'm not a doctor, we don't know 100%, and I should probably go and see a doctor if it continues to happen, but it does make sense that it would be anxiety just because things have been a little bit heightened recently with Avery going into hospital and with my mum leaving and everything. It could very well be anxiety, but that happened. I feel fine today. It's just, yeah, it's not nice when it is happening. Anyway, enough of my rambling. I'm gonna crack on and make these pasties so that I can go and get on with the rest of the stuff I've got to get done. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because of the heating or because the weather's got colder or what, but my skin has been so awful and it seems to be getting progressively worse, like over the last month. Don't know what's going on, but I feel like I'm turning back into a teenager. Anyway, just sat and had a little think about some goals for 2024, and after looking at the goals I set myself for 2023, I've totally decided to rein in on the goals a little bit and not put so much pressure on myself this year. I think overall, overall I just don't want to put so much pressure on kind of my personal development, I suppose. I'm quite happy with where I'm at developmentally. Yeah, I don't think I need to be putting any additional pressure on myself this year. But anyway, I wanted to go through 2023's goals because I did set quite a lot for myself last year. Not just for myself, but for Avery as well. And again with this year, I'm not really going to focus so much on goals for Avery because I think what I've learned from 2023 is that I don't want to say that I had unrealistic expectations or high expectations. It wasn't really that I expected any of the goals that I set for Avery to happen. They were more kind of hopes. I don't want to set those this year. I feel like I could potentially be setting myself up for disappointment. Now, not necessarily. You know, Avery could have a massive developmental leap in 2024, which would be incredible. But I think from what we know, Avery's development is very, very slow and perhaps atypical. And that makes a lot of sense because you're not a typical little girl, are you? Eh? But really the main goal for me in terms of Avery is for her to be happy. Yeah, I just want you to be happy. Anyway, 2023's goals. Yeah. This is kind of what I mean, by the way, about she's been a little bit peaky over the weekend. This is kind of what she's been like. Looking very sort of drowsy, a little bit sleepy, not quite herself. Anyway, 2023's goals, I will get to it at some point. So goal number 1 was bake for family members' birthdays. I definitely think I smashed that this year, with the exception of my mum, and that was just because we were in Orlando at the time, so we bought her a cake from Walmart. By family members, I did kind of mean parents and then just kind of us, me, Josh, the kids. Didn't bake for myself, obviously. I made, what did I make this year? So I think it was my mother-in-law's birthday first, and I made her a sugar-free cake, which was a new challenge because I'd never done that before, and it actually turned out really, really lovely. Avery's was next. You had a beautiful cake, didn't you, for your 2nd birthday? My dad, I made him a devil's food cake. It was his 60th birthday, and that is his favourite kind of cake. Next was my mum's, but like I said, we were in Orlando. I made my brother a birthday cake, which wasn't actually my plan, but that sort of made up for missing out on one of the cakes. It was my brother's 40th this year, or last year should I say, so I made him a cake. I filmed an awful lot of these cakes as well, by the way, so I do have a playlist called Cakes and Bakes on my channel. Yeah, the majority of the cakes I'm talking about I did film making them, if you wanted to check those out. So that was May. So the next cake would have been Zach's cake. He asked for a Dragon Ball Z cake. Then it was my birthday, but I didn't make myself a cake. I then made a cake for my father-in-law. I made him a lemon cake because he really enjoyed it at my brother-in-law's wedding, and that's actually one I've not mentioned. I made my very first wedding cake this year as well, which was exciting. I definitely think because of that as well I smashed this goal. And I made Marley and Eli a 2-tiered joint birthday cake since their birthdays are so close, and Josh isn't a big fan of cake, so I actually made Josh a cheesecake. I made him a Kinder cheesecake, which he really enjoyed. It was very sickly though. So goal number 1 smashed 100%. Goal number 2 was 5,000 subscribers on YouTube, and thanks to you guys we smashed that one too. Just before the end of the year, I think we hit 5,000 in December, which I'm so pleased about. Next goal, and this was one for Avery, and this is what I mean by I'm going to try and not set goals for Avery this year. It was for Avery to communicate some needs, and my achievement plan for this was continue to encourage noises, mimic, read to Avery, continue to talk to her, learn Makaton, and implement repeat short phrases for actions. So by that I mean on body signing. We still do, we do the sign for more for on body signing. I'm not sure if it's a universal thing, but what we do is we just give her like a 2-tap, and that's what we mean when we want to try and tell her like again or more, like we're asking does she want more of something. Mimicking, we do a lot, and I think Avery's actually developed on that quite a lot, because I will copy a noise and then she will make the same noise back to me, and we'll keep doing that for a while, which is actually really nice. It feels like some kind of secret communication, which I think is really cute. I definitely think she communicates in her own way. Josh and I have definitely started to learn the difference in her noises and her actions. I think she's able to tell us when she's frustrated, she's able to tell us when she's angry, upset, happy, and just through experience really, we've kind of learned why things like that could be. A lot of the time sadly it could be pain, but we've started to figure out if she's whinging because she's hungry. So in a way I think we're on the way to achieving that goal. I don't think it was quite achieved in the way I wanted it to be achieved. I think maybe I was hoping that we'd get some kind of sure sort of communication signals on particular things that she wanted. Maybe not quite there yet, but again, I think maybe my expectation was a little bit too high, but I'm not beating myself up about that. Because we're still learning about Avery, we're still learning about her development and her speed of development, and that is why I've decided not to set any goals like that this year, just because we are still learning about you, aren't we? And at the end of the day she sets the pace and we will go off what she needs and what she wants. The next goal was have an epic trip to Orlando. Smashed, 100% smashed. We had an incredible trip. I'd love to go again one day. It was amazing. Next goal, Avery in the standard 5 days a week for 1 hour. Yes and no. We achieved this one. Avery can quite happily be in her stander for an hour at a time now, which is incredible, isn't it, Purd? It is incredible. However, because of how often Avery's been ill this year and for how long her illnesses have been lasting, we've had to take a lot of breaks from it. We are just now getting back into the stander again now. She went in it a couple of times last week, and she seems to be able to cope with an hour just fine. So I do think that goal could have been hit quite easily if she wasn't so poorly. When she's poorly, we take a break from anything that's gonna exert her too much. One, because we want her to get better, and two, especially with the stander, it can actually make her worse, especially her cough, and then it can make her vomit, and it can all have kind of adverse effects. It can be a bit counterproductive. Next goal was for Avery to be able to play independently. See, I don't think she can play independently as such, but she can definitely self-soothe now, which is amazing, because it used to take a lot of work to keep Avery happy and to keep her occupied, whereas now there are definitely a lot of things that she could quite happily kind of sit and enjoy without too much heavy interaction from me, Josh, or the boys. So she's finding enjoyment in other things other than human interaction, which I think is kind of really where I was going with that goal. I want to try and start to build tiny little bits of independence, because I know that when she gets bigger independence will be really important to her, and that's not just me guessing, that's just me knowing that independence can have a massive effect on mental health, and I just want her to be happy. So if I can kind of encourage small areas of independence, like her being able to be happy interacting with a toy or something like that, I think, yeah, I don't know if I'm making much sense there, but maybe the goal wasn't achieved in the way that I kind of wrote it, but I definitely think we are well on the way with that one, so I'd maybe give it a half tick. My next goal was to address trauma and PTSD, so I did start to see a therapist. Yes, I did. I had a few appointments with the therapist, and they ended up being quite short-lived. And that was mostly because through doing those few therapy sessions, we kind of figured out that my form of therapy, my coping mechanism, is to do things. I am a doer. I don't like to be sat still for long. I always like to have things on the go. I like to have projects, and we kind of figured out that a good coping mechanism for me is to have a project, whether that be a DIY project, whether it be sewing something, making something, upcycling something, anything like that. It's good for me to always have a project on the go to keep my mind occupied, because I think my worst enemy is definitely myself. Given time to sit and think, I will overthink, and I think I just end up making scenarios much worse in my head than they really need to be. So I definitely think it was helpful, and I definitely think I've started to address it. I don't get as sad as often. I can definitely cope with more. I can deal with more now than what I used to be able to do, and by deal with things I mean I feel much more comfortable in situations that I never used to be comfortable in. So for example, when we were staying with my brother and sister-in-law, their neighbour had recently had a baby girl, literally a week old, and she came over, and you know, I was able to be in the same room as this baby and appreciate how adorable this little baby was and feel happy for the mother without feeling too sad. Now don't get me wrong, there was an element of sadness there, you know, just the memory of Avery being that small. By the time she was a week old, she had already had her cardiac arrest. I could feel the joy in seeing a newborn baby, if that makes any sense. So I definitely think I have made some really good progress with that goal. I don't think, I mean, the goal wasn't to treat the trauma or stop it from happening. It was to address it, and I think I've definitely done that. So I think that's a goal that I've achieved. For Avery to start a nursery setting, smashed it. The achievement plan was to ensure we are happy with the EHCP. We've had that back now. I'm pretty happy with it. It looks as though she will get some good support. Research preschools, arrange visits and decide on one we are happy with, get to know one-to-one, and lots of settling in sessions. So Avery started nursery in September. She's still technically having settling in sessions because I've not yet left her yet. I've not yet left her. I'm happy with Avery's one-to-one. Avery has a really good relationship with her one-to-one. They're getting to know each other, which is really nice. I definitely think that's a goal that I've smashed 100%. Well, I say I've smashed, Avery smashed it really, because she's done so well. And she actually looks like she's going to sleep at the moment. Not looking too comfortable though, are you? Hey? And like I said, I've just sat and had a little bit of a think about some goals I can set myself for 2024. I've just jotted them down on my phone for now. I'll put them into my digital planner when I've got a bit of time to sit down and do that. So goal number 1. Now this one might be a bit unrealistic, but I'm putting it there because maybe if I put it out there into the universe, it will come back to me. 10,000 subscribers. I think, what did we get to? I think we got to 5,000 last year, and I think I started at around 2,000, so that's 3,000 in a year. Let's see if we could do 5,000 in a year, guys. Let's see if we can push that. So if this is the first video of mine that you're watching, or you're not yet subscribed, help me achieve that goal, hit the subscribe button and follow us along on our journey. Your eye's looking a little bit gunky, pudding. Goal number 2, move to Wales. That's a big goal this year, and I will be incredibly disappointed if we have not achieved that goal by the end of the year, because the plan is to make that move in the first half of 2024, fingers crossed, but we shall see. There's a lot of moving parts to that move, so hopefully, I mean, really I should put have a smooth move to Wales, really, but how smooth is it really going to be? Visit Staffordshire at least twice. Staffordshire is where my mum has moved to, or is moving to today. I would like to travel up there at least twice this year to visit. And my last goal, and this is quite subjective, is feel settled. In 2023, I haven't felt very settled. I felt a little bit all over the place. I know that a big chunk of that is to do with the house we're living in. We've always known this is a temporary house. We've had problem after problem, and we know we don't want to stay here. I don't feel settled. We can't do anything to the house. We can't adapt it for Avery, which is the biggest thing. We can't even put a picture on the wall. So I can't say we feel settled in this house. It doesn't really feel like home. And by the end of 2024, I would very much like to kind of be in a position where I actually feel settled where I am. That would be nice. Yeah. But those are the 4 things that I've got written down. I might come up with more as I go along through 2024, but for now I think that's a good place to start, and I think they're all quite realistic, maybe aside from the first one, but we'll see. You never know. But anyway, Avery is almost due her feed now. We've not really been able to do anything active with her this morning because she's kind of just been like this. Maybe when I'm feeding her she might drop off to sleep for a little bit. I think she could probably do with a nap before nursery. But then we're going to go and see your friends, aren't we? Hey? Because you've not seen your friends in a while. She did miss a chunk of nursery before Christmas as well, just with being ill, having COVID. So it'll be nice to get her back into it. In Wales, the area that we're moving to, they actually have a pretty big special needs school that do take children from the age of 3. So that is one that Josh and I are going to have a really good look into. Should we feed you and see if you need a sleepy? Hey? Good morning. Avery is at nursery again today. We actually need to leave in about 20 minutes. She is currently in the middle of being fed, and then I'll be getting her dressed, dropping the boys off at school and heading to nursery. So today she's actually booked in for a full day, and I've decided, now they haven't had their feed refresher yet, they are technically trained, but I've decided that I am going to leave the premises. Not all day, and I'm not going to go home. I'm going to go into town because it's closer to the nursery than home is. Maybe go for a drink, have hot chocolate or a cup of tea or something, and just separate myself from the nursery. I'm going to go back before her feed time at 11:30. 1, because they've not had the refresher. 2, because I think that's it's a good halfway point. It's a nice little transition, and then whether or not she stays in the afternoon or how long she stays for will kind of just go off how Avery is. If she starts to get fussy, if we don't feel as though maybe she's managing the full day just yet, I'll just bring her home then. But it's a huge step because I'm going to be leaving her at nursery, but hopefully when that's happened, when they've had their feeding refresher, that'll be it then. Really, she will just go to nursery and I won't need to stay with her, and hopefully I'll feel okay about that. Probably not, because I already feel a little bit emotional now. I mean, it's odds law really, because we're planning to move and we're hoping to move within the next sort of few months. So, you know, we might have to start this process all over again, but I am hoping that because Avery will be a little bit older when we move, she might have a little bit more clout of getting into a special educational needs setting, and I feel like I'll have a lot less to worry about then because everyone will be experienced and trained anyway. It'll just be a case of getting Avery familiar with everyone. So yeah, that's the plan for today. Mixed emotions. I feel really excited for Avery because once again it's given her a little bit of independence. Not independence, but you know, independence from me. Yeah, I think it'll be good for her, and it will be good for me too. I know it will, but yeah, I'm gonna go into town and I'm gonna go and do something that I just haven't done in a really long time. Go and have a drink child free, which I feel like I will just be sat there looking for things to do. I also want to pop into M&S as well. Actually, I want to have a look. I mentioned the bedding that they've got and I really like it. I'm dead set on it. I don't see the point in buying it just yet because we are going to be getting a new bed when we move. This bed, as much as we like it, I think I would like just a normal divan bed that doesn't have slats and doesn't have a TV in the bottom. The reason why we can't really put a TV on the wall in here is, number one, because we can't put the TV on the wall, but two, because we've got the big wardrobes with mirrors there. So yeah, the plan hopefully is to get a divan bed, and I'll get nice new bedding for when we get a new bed and a new mattress. But what I want to do is go and have a look at the colours in person. I remember seeing the colours when I went last time, but I can't remember which one it was that I really liked, so I just want to make sure I know which colour I want. And then I'll probably just order online when it all happens. I'm just keeping my fingers crossed that it happens soon, guys. I'm just itching to know one way or another what we're doing. It sucks being stuck in limbo. That's the plan for today. Avery's feed should be finishing any time now, and yeah, I'll be taking her to nursery. Just dropped her off, feeling a little bit emotional. I know she'll be okay. I am going to head into town and try and take my mind off of it. It is much later now. It's actually dark outside. The boys are home from school. Zach had Lego League again today. Lego League has started up after Christmas. And I actually found out that the lady that runs Lego League in this school, her little girl actually goes to nursery with Avery, so it's a small world. I recognised them at Zach's like Christmas performance that they did at the church, which was really, really sweet, by the way. I had to kind of like figure things out to get to it because it was when Avery was in hospital, so Josh had to stay with Avery so that I could go to Zach's Christmas performance. But we're home now. Avery did so well today. She did so well. As you saw by the b-roll, I did head out of the nursery for a couple of hours, and I sat in M&S. Excuse that is the tumble dryer, which is just letting me know it's finished. Anyway, I went and sat in the M&S cafe, had a little bit of breakfast and a cup of tea, which felt so weird, but I always knew that the first time I left Avery at nursery, that was what I was going to do. I was going to go and sit in a cafe and I was going to have a nice pressure-free, guilt-free hot drink, and that is exactly what I did. I looked at the bedding. I think I figured out the colour that I want in the bedding. I ended up going back to the nursery for Avery's feed time. The nurses were actually there anyway, so I could have stayed away from the nursery, but I just wanted to go back. 2 hours is enough for me for the first time. So I went back while Avery was being fed. She seemed quite tired after that, so her one-to-one and myself both tried to get her to sleep, and she looked like she was going, and then all of a sudden she just broke out in a smile, and that's kind of my signal to know that she is not going to go to sleep. She's had her little rest and now she's back to being perky. So I left the room then. I didn't leave the nursery after that though. I kind of just sat in the office because I said I was going to sort of play it by ear on how she was through the afternoon and how long I would keep her there. I think she started to flag at around 2 o'clock. I was about to go in, and then I heard that they sat down for song time, and Avery loves song time, so I waited a little bit, then brought her home after that. But she did so well. She's had a little nap. She had a nap when I was feeding her about an hour ago. She was so tired, bless her. But yeah, she's done really well. So milestone achieved. Avery has been to nursery on her own for the first time. I had my little cry, I had my little moment when I left her, but I knew she was going to be okay, and she was okay, and everything was fine. So yeah, I guess that's it now really. They're trained. There's no reason for me to stay there. Monday will be easy because it's just an afternoon. Yeah, Tuesday I'm not so sure. I guess we'll just see how it goes. Anyway, when we were out, my friend actually popped over and popped in our Christmas presents. We had made an agreement that I would leave her little girl's presents in the storage box, and she kind of swapped them, bless her, as she was passing. And oh my goodness, she's bought some adorable little bits for Avery. How cute is this little dress? Little corduroy dungaree style dress, or pinafore style dress, I'm not really sure what you call it. This is absolutely adorable, and it's in 2 to 3, so I know it will fit Avery in length. I'm finding that, especially with dresses, she needs a 2 to 3 just because of her length, but this is absolutely adorable. And then she also got her That's Not My Giraffe book. Avery has a few of the That's Not My books. She's got That's Not My Fairy. I know she's got another one, I'm not 100% sure what it is. And she really likes the That's Not My Kitten one the nursery have. This one is really sweet. I've just read it to her, and she just likes to feel all the little textures inside it. These are really, really lovely stories. They're really simple, but it's more kind of the textures, the sensory element that Avery really enjoys. Also, I got Avery's Christmas present from nursery. Apparently she would have got this at the Christmas party, but she couldn't attend because she had COVID. But Elma and the Race, I remember Elma from when I was young, so I'm really excited to read that for my own benefit, just to get a little taste of nostalgia. But that's really, really sweet that the nursery give the children gifts. That's really, really adorable. Also, as you can probably see back here, my friend also left us some chocolates. So I'm pretty sure Josh and I will be tucking into those later. Anyway, you might be able to see the box behind me. I had a delivery while I was out from the White Company. So I mentioned, I think in the last video, that I was going to be returning a jumper that I bought with my gift card. And I ended up just taking the gift card away and then shopping online. So this is what I bought, and I knew what I wanted. I wanted some new pillows, some new cushions, which is such an adult thing to say, I feel, but I just really wanted some nice ones that were going to hold their shape. I quite like the duck and goose down type pillows because they do tend to hold their shape a bit better. They fluff back up no matter how much you squash them down, whereas the foam sort of fluff filled ones, they tend to flatten over time, I find. So I've not opened this up yet. I'm very excited. I did have a little bit of leftover as well once I bought the pillows, because at the time of buying these, the White Company actually had their sort of January sale on, and then a further 10% off the sale price. So I got a really good deal on the cushions. Still expensive for cushions. I mean, I definitely could have found them cheaper elsewhere. However, it's the White Company and I had a gift card to spend, but I had some leftover. So with the leftover, I actually bought another coffee table book, and I had my eye on this one for a while, ever since I got my other White Company book. I just really like the pictures, the inspiration, and for romanticising. This one's The Art of Living with White. The other one I think is called For the Love of White, but their books are just full of like gorgeous photos, and I think I'll be able to pull a lot of inspiration from these when we move. I mean, even the front cover, I just really like that aesthetic. Anyway, let's take a look at these pillows. So I was debating on whether I wanted regular standard size or the king size. I was going to get the king size, but then I thought I am much more likely to always have room for a standard size. We don't always know if we're going to have a king size bed. And to be fair, this is pretty big for a standard size pillow. I like that they come in their own little protective pouches. That's really good. This should also make it quite easy to transport them without them getting ruined. And there was 2 like firmness options. There was the kind of soft to medium and then the medium to firm. I went for the medium to firm, and yeah, that feels nice. I can definitely get on with that, and I can tell that it's the kind of pillow that does hold its shape because it's already fluffing back up when I push it together. So I'm really happy with that, as happy as you can be for pillows. I'm not going to use these yet. I'm going to wait until we move and we get a new bed, and I can then use my new bedding on my new bed. I know that sounds daft, but I don't know, that's just the idea I've got in my head. I don't want to get them ruined and even though essentially we're going to be sleeping on them anyway. I like the idea of moving to a new house and having a new bed and new bedding and just feeling really fresh and new in a new surrounding. Anyway, that is what I got from the White Company, which I'm really, really pleased with. Anyway, I think I'm going to close this vlog out here. Still have a busy second half of the week ahead of me. Oh, I think Josh is home. Yeah, that is Josh just pulling in from work. But yeah, so closing this vlog out here. I will pick you up again at the second half of this week, because Avery actually has her 24-hour EEG this week. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did, and hit subscribe if you would like to follow us along on our journey. And with that said, I'll see you guys in a few days with another video. Bye guys.